Roshadelphia. That's my circle. I don't need to check it because it's my tight with me, right? Woohoo! All right, guys. Thank you, thank you. So my name is Jennifer LeSuer. I'm an executive coordinator. I have a background in risk and underwriting advising, and I'm currently UBP coordinator in King of Prussia, PA. I studied finance at St. Joseph's University. I was born and raised in New York, right? I grew up in Saratoga Springs. My parents did an incredible job providing a wonderful lifestyle for me. And really, we lived in a home that they built from the ground up. And this was their dream home. But when I was 7 years old, I saw what financial hardship could do to a family. My parents uprooted us from Saratoga to Garden City, where we crammed into a family home with my aunt, 2 uncles, and a cousin. And I just saw my dad go to work really, really hard. He would wake up at 2:30 in the morning and 10 o'clock and not come home until 10 o'clock at night. He'll be working at the airport and also a part-time job, while my mom also went back to school so she too could start financially providing for our family. When my family finally was able to have, the means to buy their own house and get out of a rental and move into a beautiful home in Garden City, New York, that was the day when 9/11 shook our nation. I remember being 12 years old, packing boxes, looking at the TV, and knowing that something major is about to change. And it did for my family. The job that he was working at, the company declared bankruptcy, and his pension got paid off to the government, and it went from $80,000 a year to $600 a month. He was left with 0 retirement plan. And so that is what brings me to my big reason why. My parents. They are such incredible people. My dad and I have this tradition. We'll go downtown, we'll get a cup of coffee, we'll sit on a bench in 7th Street, and he'll always say to me, Jen, whatever you do in life, I need you to become successful. You have to be my retirement plan. He always said it to me. He still says it to me now, right? He's like, 63,000 in 4 weeks? I'm like, 63,000, let's go. And really, he would say, you have to be my retirement plan, because he had no means of retiring. And really, I was like, okay, I knew that I had to do something more. So I went to St. Joseph's University, studied finance for the sole reason to, leave school, go back to New York, work on Wall Street, make 6 figures. But instead, I actually came out with over 6 figures of student loan debt. And I knew that with that type of debt on my back, I would never have the ability to financially support my parents, be there for them when they need me, or emotionally support them. And that's why this is where it all started. I'm so, so grateful to Dre and Hodo for introducing me to this business. I have literally the best sponsor in the entire world. Didn't you do incredible yesterday? Yeah. Because he not only changed my life, but he also changed my parents' life. And I was really known as that mystery prospect. Brett Portelli can definitely, attest to this. For months, I'd be like, oh, I have this girl, Jen. She'll definitely tear it up in the business. But I wouldn't sit down and look at the plan. I was too busy being a senior in college. And eventually, I remember sitting in finance class, and I got this text message, and it said, hey, I want to show you about this profit sharing program that I've been working on. I'm like, all right, I need some additional income. Might as well check it out, right? And so I was like, okay. I sat down, and I remember being in a classroom at St. Joe's, and I was able to, see the compensation plan. There's 2 things that really stuck out to me. It was that 100% to infinity and that cap. I didn't know what this business was. I didn't know if I could be successful. I didn't know, if I was going to be able to make it. But all I knew was that I didn't want to miss out on whatever was about to happen. So I was really lucky because I was actually introduced to the business in February, but I didn't start till June, right? And that's when I want to talk about the power of events, right? International Conference has such a special place in my heart because this was actually the company's 20th anniversary. There was a big circle stage, right? And JR was going off, and it was really incredible because I was only about 6 weeks into the business, and I had a lot of excuses on why I could not come to the event. But Duong kept persisting and persisting and persisting. And eventually I made a last-minute decision, and I actually took a flight down a day late. And I remember sitting in this arena, absorbing everything that JR talked about. But it wasn't even just that speech. It's what I saw after. We're sitting up in that section right over there. There was only a few of us, Brett Portelli, Mark Bernacki, Caitlin Gormley, and myself, and Dryan Hodo. And I remember, the arena clearing out, and I looked over to Drayton, and I saw this look of determination on his face. And at this point, he wasn't even an executive coordinator. And I thought to myself, wow, this guy's going all in. And that's where I gained full belief in his leadership, and I knew that he would never, ever let me fail on my goals or on this team's goals. And that's when I went all in. I made this commitment to build this team successfully. Right? And it's crazy because you never know, because of that very event, right? Thousands of lives have changed and hundreds of thousands of lives are yet to come. And it was just so powerful because, you never know what you're going to get from an event, right? You never know what life-alternating decisions are going to come. But if you never go, you're never going to find out. And that's why it's so important to attend these events, because it helps to allow you to have this bulletproof belief system and allow you to really believe in yourself and this company and this team, right? And we just got really busy and we went to work and we bought, world conference tickets, and the team just continued to explode. And we had people come out like Kevin Duong, Sean Gornick, Andrea Tinkoff, Mary Richards, right? I call her Mary Valentina. And it's just crazy because, the team just really started to take off. And as you start building Market America, you're really going to be able to learn some life lessons. And really for me, right, there's actually 3 lessons that I've learned. The first lesson is you have to be persistent, right? You have to have persistence. These pictures exemplify that for me, right? And it starts with you, your mindset, right? What are you saying to yourself every single day? What are you talking to yourself? Are you telling yourself, I'm a champion, I'm a director, I'm a beast, I'm successful, right? That is so important because those words are going to build you up and allow you to have an unshakable tree that is going to allow you to push forward when things start getting tough. You have to be persistent in that process, right? You have to do something that makes you so uncomfortable so you can grow and become the person that you never thought you could become. And you have to really allow yourself to do that. And it doesn't matter if it's acting like Elizabeth Weber, being a friend-making machine, being like, can't you guys wait 2 to 3 years? Allowing yourself to be able to do that, right? I literally talk like Elizabeth when I need to start talking to people, because I'm like, I want to be Elizabeth Weber. And it really allows you to get into that mode, right? And allow you to be in that vision and that mission and really be crystal clear on why you are here, right? What do you want out of this business? What can this business do for you? What are your wants? Lauren went over that yesterday, and you'd be so clear, right? And this is something that you have to be leading by example and doing this day in and day out. And I'm so lucky that, Dryan really taught me the importance about being persistent, because without him doing that to me, I wouldn't have that skill set. That would not be imprinted on me. So it really allows me to then go out and never give up on, a guest, never give up on a teammate, never give up on myself. Okay? And there's going to be hardships in business and personal life. But as long as you go through the ebbs and flows, right, because there's going to be ups and downs, and you stick through and you have deep roots seeded into the reason why you're here, you'll never be able to waver at all, right? The second thing is you have to have a big heart and be loyal to your team. This is something that I am so passionate about. Loyalty is the most important thing that you need to have to build this business, right? And I love my team so much. I give these Mama Jen kick and kiss moments. People who work with me know what I'm talking about, because I'm not going to be afraid to stand there and tell you what you need to hear, but may not want to hear, right? And it's about having those tough conversations because you care so much about your team and you care so much about their goals that you don't want them to get in the way of themselves. Right? And so you know what, Philadelphia? I love you guys. And at that time, that means that sometimes you have to go above and beyond. You have to overextend yourself. You have to do things that might make you feel a little uncomfortable, right? But the thing is that, with that, they're going to feel that buy-in from you. And by staying loyal no matter what, because again, guys, this is a business. Not everybody's here for the right reason. Not everybody's going to want to see you become successful. And the reason why they don't want to see you become successful is because they have to look themselves in that mirror every single day and say, why can't I? Right? So they're going to maybe, not always be in the business for the right reason. And so you just have to make sure that you're just so focused on why you're here. And at the end of the day, you are never bigger than your team. You're never bigger than your team. Because at the end of the day, as you as an individual, it makes a team, the team makes you. Okay? And you have to work harder than you worked the day before. That really comes down to a gritty mindset and attitude. You have to go to work. At the end of the day, this is a business. This isn't free handouts. We're not giving you, $6,000 residual income for free. But it really means that when you do put that work in, it's going to pay you for the rest of your life. And it really is that whatever it takes mentality. Whether it's 4 a.m. 2-on-1s to UK, right? Whether it's 2-on-1s, an hour and a half, 2 hours away, and you have to drive there. Whether it's somebody canceling on you guys, but you still stick it out and you train your team. Whether it's people losing their jobs and still at this ticket booth outside, still buying 7 tickets because they believe that they will be able to change people's lives with them, right? And also too is like whether people are just cramming into buses, sleeping on hotels, whatever it takes to get people to these events, whatever it takes to help your team become successful. And it really is, getting out of your comfort zone, because once you're out of your comfort zone, you're in that growth zone. You're really going to be able to grow into that person that you're ever be able to become. And at the end of the day, guys, success isn't overnight. It's not. It's a 2 to 3 year, even if it's 5 years, even if it's 10 years, even if it's 15 years, it is still better than the 45-year plan, right? Hands down. I always like to say we are at war with the 45, right? I love that. And it's just like having that mentality. And with that success overnight, you just have to keep the business simple. Whether it's buying and selling, tickets, showing the plan, selling products, you have to just keep it simple. Because that's all it's going to take to help you to create that ongoing income. And, there's going to be things in life where you're going to have to make decisions. I even know for myself, in June, I only had one person in the UK, and I made that decision to go over there with Dre, and I was fortunate enough that he agreed to come with me. And we went there, and we went to the national conference, and it was an amazing event, right? It was an amazing event. Don did a really great job, and Andrew and Bonnie did a great job putting it together. I only had one person there. But from that one person, now in the last 6 weeks, we've actually been able to grow to a team of 10 people and 4 people here today. And I love this business so much, guys, because it's so moldable, right? You can help people save money shopping online. You can help people with their health with these products. You can help people with their wealth with the business plan. It is so moldable. Everybody can use this business in their life. We just have to find out what they can take from it. And the only thing that's getting in the way is you. Don't let you get in the way of your own success. JR said at the company's 20th anniversary, the next time we meet, we're going to be $1 billion company. Well, now we're an $8 billion company, and I know in the next 20 years, we're going to be a $100 billion company. And we're going to have more and more people being able to make 6-figure residual income, right? And that's what it's about. We need to make sure that we are leaving here, Greensboro, North Carolina, and we're doing whatever it takes to help more people succeed, more people hit their goals. If you have somebody come into the business and you personally introduce them or you're working with them, you've already looked them in the eyes and you said, I'm going to help you become successful. Why not do what you need to do that? And that's why you have to make sure you bring your people to events. That's why you have to make sure they have their own tickets to World Conference, right? There's already been, Elizabeth Weber, Frank Kiefer, Min Liu, Amber Yang, Pam Antoli Bowling, they've already paved the path for all of us. Who are going to be the next giants that are going to stand up and allow this company to be successful and thriving for generational wealth? It is us in this very room right here. It is us. So guys, if you have not already done it, go out there, grab your 3 tickets. Make sure you lock yourself in make sure you're going to lock your team in for explosive growth over the next 6 months so we can fill arenas all over the globe with directors. It's only a matter of time. See you in World Conference.
You good? First off, real quick question. Does this jacket work? Is this all right?
It's a dinner jacket.
Brittany goes, yo, that looks like a dinner jacket. It's a day jacket. I said, this is a stage jacket. She's like, you can't wear that. I said, I'm going to be on stage looking like a snack. Don't worry about it. I think I can wear it. Super excited to connect with y'all this morning. Let's keep it moving. So we've been asked to share a little bit about our story and how we get started and what's working for us right now. So the first part, which I'll talk about, is becoming an entrepreneur warrior. I thought about that. I like that so much. I almost trademarked that. Somebody already got it, so can't do that. So a little bit about myself. I am a master coordinator. I guess I'm going to be the Lehigh Valley UBP coordinator now. I got to sign the paperwork. Don, I'm working on it, buddy. I am a wellness coach, personal trainer. I am a edged weapons defense civilian instructor. I love music as an artist and a producer. And as you can see, I am a cat daddy as well. How I got started in the business, like many of you, I was told to go to college, be successful, get a job, hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt. My dad is not that tall, by the way. He's standing on a step, just if you're wondering. When I graduated, I couldn't find a job, so ironically, I ended up working as a personal trainer. And the gentleman whose firm I was running already had the isotonics and wellness products there, so that was my introduction. It just kind of made sense for me. Little did I know that there was this entire business behind that, and I did not realize that until I got to convention just a few short months afterwards. So I encourage you all to absolutely do that. But before I even went to convention, guys, I actually took off to go teach English in Hong Kong. So I registered my business and then hopped on a plane to go teach English in Hong Kong, but I made the decision and choice first. It was like this huge parable I was sitting on, and I couldn't decide what to do. So if you're stuck in a pickle and you're not sure, just make the jump and make the decision, and everything else will figure its way out after that. So what was holding me back, though? Like, what was I really afraid of? Maybe some of you have fear like this guy. Do we got sound here?
Hello?
Hello?
I think you get the point. Maybe some of us are overreacting. What does overreacting really look like? Oh. It's not that bad. Why don't you do it with your team? Why don't you have fun? Y'all know who this is, right? Saquon Barkley. Make the calls with your team. Have fun with your team. You will do so much more when you do this with your team. So I had to change my identity. I was going through, we all go through turmoil, we all go through something, right? As soon as you leave here, something will happen. I'm just forewarning you, something's gonna happen. It might be good, it might be bad. I left convention 1.5 years ago, right? I was offered a new job, lots more money, so I took it. 2 months into it, they decided to stop paying me. I'll be 35 later this year. I've been downsized 4 times already. Had to file a lawsuit, drug it out for 10 months before they finally paid, but guess what? You guys continued to pay me in that time frame, so thank you so much, because we appreciate that. And like Dennis said, I had to change my mindset. I was out of shape. I remember that audio, you said you had to get in shape, right, to change that. Now, I'm not saying you got to go through combat instruction, but I decided to go get my butt kicked by my buddy Hank Hayes in Edged Weapons Defense, Firearms Defense. I encourage you to read The Art of War for Small Business. I love that audio and love that book. Fantastic read. But I had to change my mind and my attitude because I knew that was going to correlate to me in business. And we were asked to join Lauren and JR and Andrew at their home in Connecticut, guys, for the special session. Like, I can't say enough. First off, let me say this. If you were not invited in, you're like, well, I want to go hang out too. First off, you're hanging out right now. You've been hanging out all weekend. What they told us is what you've been hearing the entire weekend. We just get to freak out because we have to send them our numbers every single week. So I did have a little mini panic attack when we left, but I'm back now, so don't worry. But that was a joy and that was a blessing, guys, because what it's about is the evaluation approach 2 a week for 52 weeks. That's it. Everyone can do that. Be coachable and just do that. So what's been working for us? So you can see that top left picture there. Yo, legit, like no joke, I was hungry. I was just going in to get a rotisserie chicken. Like, that's it. Like, I was not trying to draw the plan out for that gentleman there, but we locked eyes. I was like, oh, you work out for something. What do you do? He's a personal trainer. 20 minutes later, I drew the plan out on back of some card or something like that. So he ghosted me, but I'm going to find him in a little bit. No worries there. We have fun. The top right picture there. Lauren, we do play poker as well. So I'm practicing because I'm coming for you. I'm coming for that money. Guys, not everybody in that picture is actually business partners. So I've learned to curtail my business, have fun with your team. That's what's been working for us. Like, relax a little bit, have fun. Evaluation approach here. How am I doing on time, baby?
You got 3 minutes.
Good.
3 minutes.
Evaluation approach. So look, I was not out to show business and have fun. That's my buddy in the bottom left corner. She's a fitness mom of 4. She's in great shape. I'm like, hey, get on Facebook Live with me. Let me ask you some questions. That led to a follow-up. Hey, I need you to evaluate our business. So I met with her and her husband as well to show them the business, have them evaluate. Guess what? They weren't interested. But the young lady in the bottom right corner, who she was coaching, was. So going through the evaluation approach and sitting down and connecting and talking with her husband, she actually ended up registering a business with us, and she's now a partner with us as well. She is coming to Miami also. So evaluate. Not everyone that you talk to is going to want to do this. What else has been working? So guys, we have this back and forth on what to do and using technology. So here, using Zoom, but yes, drawing the plan out like Don and Lisa have been coaching and teaching us to do, it works. Like, it really, really does. It might not be drawing it out every single time, but you get a different kind of connection, right, and a different kind of response when you know it's here and when you know it here, right? So practice that. You might not draw it out every single time, but I can tell you it's been working. While at convention, guys, like, look, no days off. So I had 2 evaluation approaches, went back to the hotel room after we were finishing up, and again, talking with 2 of my friends who have agreed, right, because of the evaluation approach, have agreed to help lead to people. It's not right for them, and they're upfront and forward, and I'm upfront and forward that I wasn't even looking for you. But thank you for being my friend. Thank you for evaluating. I appreciate your support. Your why must be greater than your fear, so you have to understand that for building your business, if you want to take action, it unequivocally must move you. Like, a car's not going to move me anymore. It's not. I was 26 and I had an Audi A5. It doesn't matter. The engine in that thing blew anyway. Car's not going to move me. I got to marry her. We got to pay for our wedding. That moves me. That moves me into action. Where's Jared, Cassidy, and Indigo? Are they here? We were sitting behind them. Is that them in the back? What's up, my friends? Oh, I love y'all. Look. We had partners that were like, we can't come, we can't make it because our kids, they had their daughter sitting right there playing on the iPad. She was fine. And they were soaking up the information. Watch them in a couple of months because they're going to be amazing. We love you guys. We're so glad to meet you and to connect with y'all. Emotional responses. I got to hurry. I'm going to pass it to Brittany here. Look, this business is all about emotional roller coaster, right? I say I still got my hands in the air and I'll wave them like I just don't care. It doesn't matter. Whatever emotional response you get, you can tag whatever number of reach outs or phone calls to that you want to, but you have to do something. Don't let your emotions get in the way. Oh, I really got to move. How I got Brittany. All right, so I got to go through this ultimate evaluation approach. I got to go. 2014, I met Brittany's little sister, Starbucks coffee shop. I knew she was a makeup artist, obviously. That's her on the left-hand side there. When I asked for the phone number, I said, this is business. I mean business. When we meet, I need you to bring mom or dad. I am not trying to get your number like that. So she brought her dad. The entire time, Mr. Witcher was trying to pitch me Brittany to sit down and meet.
To talk about music, by the way.
To talk about music. He
music
knew what
lessons.
he was doing. Ultimate event. I didn't even mean for that to happen. But this happened then. 2016, we got engaged, actually at convention. That video's up on YouTube somewhere. 5-year anniversary was this past Monday. Little baby anniversary, but, you know, we made it to 5 years, so. Look, life is going to happen. As soon as you leave here, this is your response, just so you know. Like, this will be your response to life. I'm telling you. This will be your response. Don't let life get in the way. All right? I really got to pass it to Brittany now. There's this old school shinobi ninja instructor who said, nowadays, nobody has the time or the stomach to train in the old methods. And I want to challenge you all to train in the old methods, right? Bridge that gap between technology and what we're doing in 2019 and what was being done in the early days. We love all of y'all, the pioneers that have led the way, still leading the way, and everyone like Flushadelphia, Dryden and everyone, right? We love y'all for what you're doing. Now with that said, oh, it's also later than you think. Do that face app thing that's on my dream board. With that said, I'd love to introduce to you my fiance, my best friend, my shopping annuity buddy, my fiance, Miss Brittany Witcher.
Hi, guys.
I'm sorry, I took up some time.
So I'm going to try this really quick. Ni hao, wo jiao, Brittany. Yeah, so my name is Brittany. Here's some fun facts about me. I did all this stuff right here in my past. I went to school for Arabic and Middle Eastern affairs. I thought I was going to save the world, you know, writing about people out there in the Middle East. After college, realized that I couldn't do that, so I decided to go drug running legally. And then from there, I decided to help people fix phones and other things with their lives. I teach piano to little kiddos because I love them very much, to work with them, that is. And then I also love anime. I'm a big anime fanatic, yes. Huge anime fanatic. I somehow figured out how to walk my cats. Yeah, there we go. That's it.
Now.
Yes. I love walking my cats, and my best skill is that I can read a lot. So, but somehow with all those skills, I didn't make Nick's names list at all. Like, at all. He didn't show me the plan at all. I had to show it to myself. When we first met, it was really, I thought it was about music lessons. It turned out that he was trying to date me. And he didn't want the business to mix in with our relationship. So because of that, I had to, you know, just figure it out myself. It took me 9 months. I went to marketamerica.com, and I just watched the video over and over and over and over again. And when I figured it out, I was like, how dare you, right? So I was like, I want in. He was like, no. So I had to qualify myself to get into the business with him. It was very hard. I had to go from event to event to event to event to event till eventually my mind was right. And then I, you know, decided to do that. So anyway, if I was going to say my second best skill is that while I am an introvert and I'm a very quiet person at times, I am very passionate about what I love. And so some of those things that I love are like trampolining. At one point I was on the trampoline club in college. I thought I was good. I wasn't really, but I mean, I loved it, you know, and I love doing that. So for 5 years, I've been very persistent with telling Nick, hey, let's go to the trampoline park. It's going to be fun. He's like, nah. He's like, no, we're not going to do that. But here's the thing. The business is just like being at the trampoline park. It really is. You look weird. But it's fun. It's really, really fun. So for our 5th anniversary, he's like, what do you want to do? I'm like, I want to go to the trampoline park. There's one in Greensboro, so let's go. So he's like, all right, there's a lot of kids. It's weird, but okay, let's just do it if you really want to go. So we did, and what was it? It was good, right? You liked it.
It was fun.
It was fun, right?
It was fun.
So while we were there, he's like, I want to be Spider-Man. And I was like, okay, let's be Spider-Man. So this is what happened. There's no sound to this, but you can watch this. He's trying to be Spider-Man, and he wants to run up the walls. And he decides that he's going to run up the walls, and that's what he did. He managed to run up the walls, just like that. Now,
the shoes were sticky.
Yeah, exactly. And he fell, but it's all right. I was like, yeah, I'll be Spider-Man too. It'll be so much fun. Look at me. I'm kind of Spider-Man, but not really, but you know, right?
Right. It's okay.
This is what it looks like in the business. You're not particularly good at it, but you're doing it, you know? Now here's the next thing that I really want you to see. As I get off of here, just kind of going. I'm about to fall, right? There's this little kid right behind us who's trying to be Spider-Man. We didn't even try to make him Spider-Man. We were just like, you know what, we're going to go, right? So it was so much fun. Anyway, we did go in the special sessions, right? All this time I've been, you know, kind of telling my friends and stuff like that we got this cool business, and it's like jumping on a trampoline, we're going, you know, it's kind of fun. But then we went to go and see JR, and he's like, no, this is actually really, really fun. So after the special session, I was like, oh my gosh, I got so much work to do. So I went and this is my calendar. I just went and made the business priority. I was like, I got to go to work, and then I got to go to work. And so I just went and moved everything around for myself to show people that I'm really jumping on this trampoline. I decided when I went to work that I would write out my goal statement, and I'd read it in front of all my coworkers all the time. I'd drink my isotonics all the time in front of my coworkers. Everyone's got to know. And I started drawing out the plan. The thing that I've been saying isn't, I'm like, hey guys, I'm not particularly good at this, but I think it's a lot of fun. You should join me. Why don't you do this? You can help me practice. Just sit here and be a person to listen to this. That's all. This is really all I've been saying to people. I've just been drawing out the plan. So yeah, like in the past 3 weeks, I think we've done 12 people or so. Yeah, it's really crazy. And you know what's funny? That basic 5 weekly checklist, it used to be so hard to fill it out because I'm like, what did I do for the week? I don't know, right? But now it's like things are just happening all of a sudden, and things are just being filled in, and it's not even hard work. It's just like, I'm jumping on the trampoline, that's all, and it's just fun. That's all we're doing. So in the end of the day, all I have to say is that, when you realize that you love something, like, I love anime. I know it's weird. I'm 28, okay? I get it. But I tell people that I love it anyway. I love jumping on the trampoline. I love this business. So I just tell people anyway. I'm like, I know it's weird. You don't have to do it. You don't ever say to somebody, you know what, like, you better jump on the trampoline or else, right? I'm not going to tell people that they better do this business, but it's just fun. And, like, that's what you do. So we're just going to ask you guys to continue to jump with us. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Let's have fun.
Let's have fun.
Let's all be spider people together.
Yes.
Right? Spider geese.
Exactly.
Guys, you have your tickets. Not only to Miami, to the next local, to the next event. We've got Gary Rogers coming in. We're so excited for that, for our team conference later.
He's got
Miami.
3.
I've got my Miami. They were all packed up, so I've got my 3 Miami tickets as well.
Exactly.
Because, guys, like, those are not for us. Those are for guests, right? Those are for the people that you're going to bring with you. It's not for our current team. Those are for guests. So, guys, we love you. Thank you so much. We believe in you.
Guys, thank you so much for having me on the stage. I am so humbled to be here and just be on the stage where leaders have walked before me, mentors that you don't even know were my mentors because you were in the audios in my head. Thank you so much. JR and Lauren, thank you so much for giving us an incredible plan to give us freedom. Philadelphia team, thank you so much for letting me represent you, for letting me represent every piece of work that you've done, all the struggles you've been through. I'm just so grateful. All right, so today I get to talk to you guys a little bit of what it means to persevere and what does it look like when you actually break through. All right, my name is Gormley, right? Everyone says I'm your friend. But growing up, it's funny, you would have never expected me to be a business owner. You can tell from the pictures. Growing up, all I was around animals, right? Whether it was little cows, little snakes. This is my little dog Finnegan, he's a little bigger now, right? As I got bigger, the animals got bigger, right? The snakes got bigger. Honestly, I just wanted to go and be a veterinarian, right? But sometimes you make plans and God laughs, right? I did not realize that along the way I would get lost and become a full-fledged Market America UnFranchise owner, and I'm so grateful. So the way that this plan worked is that he put someone in my life, a curly-haired, retainer-wearing guy in my economics class, back in good old Delco Upper Darby, and this guy said, I'm going to retire before I'm 30, right? And, when he started this business, I just was watching him. Finally, he asked me, hey, we're going to have an incredible lifestyle. I want you along in this journey. And I saw his vision. I knew nothing. I don't even remember seeing a business plan. I think I must have, right? I just came out to events, right? I came out to Miami in 2012. I started my business in the spring of 2012. All right, at the time I was going to the University of Delaware, right? Ashley says, go Blue Hens. And then afterwards, I pursued, my career as a veterinarian at the University of Pennsylvania. So that was the course of me running my business, honestly, my first year. I thought it was gonna look like this. Okay, guys, hey, we have a great idea, right? We can make residual income. You can be free. You can have freedom to do whatever you want, right? You build it, boom, overnight success. All right, it did not turn out that way. It did not look like that. Right? It still has not looked like that. Like many of you in this Coliseum, I have very big goals. I'm still working hard to get them, right? But guys, it's not going to look like that to get there. The beautiful thing about the plan is the basic 5 is so basic. It's simple. What messes it up is that we're people, all right? We mess it up as people, and honestly, it's typically because there's things that we tell ourselves,
right? There's lies that we tell ourselves that I know every day I'm still working to clean up these lies. And I want to give you guys some of these so you can be aware of them as they come into your life so they don't prevent you from building your business. All right, first lie, I have to do it all myself or I have to be good at everything to run this business. Right? Leverage is the magic of this business. That's why we got into it. Your personal strengths might be limited, but the strengths of a team is unlimited. Right? Where you might be weak, someone else is strong. Right? J. Paul Getty said it best, I'd rather have 1% of 100 people's efforts versus 100% of just my own, right? Because I have a lot of flaws. We get paid residually when there's a large group of people performing simple tasks over and over again consistently over a sustained period of time, right? When you think you have to do it all yourself, sometimes you can't even focus on being your best self. You think, okay, in order to reach success, I have to be someone else, right? We want to duplicate success principles, not personalities. Comparing yourself to someone else is a thief of joy, right? If you have strengths, leverage those strengths, build on those strengths, help other people find their own. Build your own personal record every day, but never compare yourself to someone else. Second lie, I need my lucky break or I'm waiting for my director. You're never gonna run this business and get where you want just by waiting, right? You attract what you want. You go out and you find the director because you've become one first. If you want a leader on your team, you have to become a leader to develop other leaders. Drayton was showing us on the stage the other day, right? We have to work hard to flip the cards. We don't control how the deck is stacked, right? All we can control is how fast we flip them. You might have a deck where an ace is on top. You might have a deck where all of your aces are at the bottom. Flip, flip, flip. That's how you find your director. You work very hard to do it, and you become one first. All right, and you have to be ready. Luck is when preparedness reaches opportunity. If someone's walking in your path and put in your path, how are you going to help them unless you yourself have developed yourself to be able to help them get what they want, right? So you have to be ready for that director to come into your life. Third lie, I can't or I don't know how. All right, everyone, I even see it. Everyone has this 6-inch little device, right, that they're holding up right now. We have access 24/7 to a device that allows us to have access to audios, right, to books, to resources where people have written down their stories of how they've reached success. We have our trainings. We have our mentors in our business. There's so many resources. There's no reason for you to say, I can't find it. I don't know how to do it. It's like riding a bike, right? You can read a manual, but the best thing is about this business, we have on-the-job learning. You don't have to know how to do everything first. Yes, you might fall off and have some scrapes and bruises, but that's how you're going to learn and gain your skill set. And the 10,000-hour rule, right? We're practicing a specific task over a period of time until we've mastered it. You're not going to be good when you first start this. I definitely was not good. One of my first 2-on-1s, Drayton took the pen out of my hand because I was not explaining anything correctly, but the best thing is when you are passionate, people will still start the business, right? There's people that are here today because that plan was so bad, right? But he still started the business, and there's hundreds of people that are here today. All right? Erratic performance is a result of erratic thinking. If you aren't preparing yourself to go out and get those 1,000 hours under your belt, your performance is always going to be erratic. Third, I have time. It's not that urgent. I'll finish later. This was a mentality I know I had when I started my business, at least to some degree, because I was only 22. When you're 22, you're not thinking about what's going to happen over the next 20 years, I'll tell you that. I was just trying to finish off my schooling, all right? But your team is watching you. You might have people that enter your team, that enter your life, that need this very urgently, and if you're not moving at that pace, you might miss the opportunity to change their life because they're going to follow you in what you're doing. Right? If they need to hear your story for them to be successful, you don't know what kind of empowerment you can create for someone by creating the momentum, but if you're not urgent about it, you might miss out on thousands of lives changed because one person just didn't catch it. All right? Our time on earth is limited. You can spend your life any way you want to, but you can only spend it once. All right? If you're serious about this business and you know what it can do for yourself, you do not know how much time you have. You do not know how much time people on your team have. People get sick, right? If we're looking to create something where we can truly live our lives, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The best time is now. We have to be urgent about this, right? And lastly, what definitely strikes me the most is when crisis comes in our life, we can't control it. It's going to happen to all of us. That's just life. But I'll tell you from watching stories of people in this business, right, that have touched my heart, Gary Rogers did not know that his daughter would be diagnosed with a tumor, but he put this business in place ahead of time for when that crisis came. Right? Frank Kiefer did not know he would be diagnosed right, with a heart ailment that would prevent him, from working, but he already put something in place for him and Gingy to have an incredible life, right? Drayton did not know his father would be diagnosed with a neurological disorder, but he put something in place ahead of time so that he could live his life. You don't know what's going to come up in your life, but you can at least prepare for it. The last lie, I think, is the most insidious. This is the one that's gotten me the most, right? The idea of I don't deserve it, I'm not good enough, or I'm not worthy. And a lot of this starts from what we've been taught to believe from a young age, and it's not really anyone's fault, it's just a paradigm. As JR always says, it's a paradigm that we've been just taught, and I'll prove it to you, right? Finish these couple sentences for me, all right? Money is the root of all right? It's lonely at the, go to school to get good, so you can get a safe, secure, and work until you, all right, you guys said die, all right? I thought it was retire. But my point is, you didn't even have to have me tell you that, and you already had something in your head. Where did that come from? I don't know where it came from, but it's been instilled in us. We have to reprogram ourselves. JR had the brain out on stage so we can reprogram ourselves. It's very difficult to do, but you have to clean it every day. Tell yourself every day, I'm worthy, I can do this. The most powerful words in the human language are I am. Tell yourself, I am a director. I am a leader. I am an influencer. In order to change your personal reality, you have to change your personality. You will not get what you want by staying the same person. You have to step into your potential. The universe only gives us what we are willing to receive, right? Before we can experience the growth of our unknown self, which is what we all want. We want what we've never had, it's unknown, but you have to let go of your known self. It's a tough bridge to cross, right? And I know sometimes, you look on stage, I used to do this, I would look on stage and be like, there's a huge gap between where that person is and where I am. How can I ever bridge that gap? They make it look so easy. They make it look like it was magic. I couldn't believe, how do I get there? All right, so I just want to get you to the point where you can see that we're not incredible on stage. I promise you, I am not incredible at all, right? To prove it to you, all right, this is me. All right, I did not plan necessarily on showing this picture, but I wanted you guys to know, we're just real people that are working to run our business. This was at a time, you might think I'm a little crazy for taking this too. This was at a time in my business, this was around 2016. I had hit master coordinator at that time, but that whole year was awash with just honestly a lot of hardships for me internally. All right, I had lost two of my grandparents on my mother's side who I grew up with that lived with us, both to neurodegenerative diseases. My mom lost her brother, all within months of each other. I actually left veterinary school at this year. And the reason I did that was I was watching my team grow, and I just felt like I wanted to be able to grow with them. I had seen success, I had seen people on my team succeed, but I realized if I want to make a large impact in the world, it wasn't going to be, by basically being a veterinarian in the field long hours. I wanted to impact more people than that. But it also created a crisis in my life, all right? If you define depression as living under your potential and not doing anything about it, honestly, that was me for this whole year. And if anyone knows me at that time, right, hurting people hurt people. I was not a fun person to be around. I thank my team so much every day for putting up for me during those moments. But I will tell you, I took this picture right after I got a phone call, and it was from Drayton. And if anyone has had a mentor that is very hard on them, there's certain phone calls that you should take, you don't want to take. I had spent a couple months in my business hiding, not doing what I needed to do. And he knew that. And he called me up, and I won't use the words he used because that would not be appropriate for stage. But he basically told me, Caitlin, I can't help you anymore. I want this business to work for you, but I cannot be associated with you for who you are currently. He said, I cannot do anything more for you. If you want to make this work to be the person I know you can become, you have to help yourself. And hung up the phone. I also was not planning to have this on the screen for this long. But I sat in my car for about 15, 20 minutes on City Line Avenue. I'll never forget this. And I realized, okay, you know what? I was angry. I was hurt. I realized if I needed to make a difference for myself, I had to take true ownership. Like he said, I could not be in that blame stage. All right, and so I started, I made a decision. I took this picture for myself, right, so I could remember I will not go back to this point in my life where I'm spitting on the faces of my family, my parents, my friends, my team, my mentor, for giving me an opportunity to grow myself, supporting me, and I've done nothing with it. So things changed. I want you guys to know if you might be looking like this in your business right now, you can make a decision on the spot to move and change, all right? Like I said, it was a couple months after I hit Master Coordinator, the fall of 2016, I said, okay, let me get going again. Let me get going, let me start. It was small at first, disciplines add up, hit Master Coordinator. The next year, sometimes things take time. I was slower, I could have done more, right? This picture was taken a year ago at this international convention, right after I hit Professional Coordinator, all right? I want everyone in this arena to realize that sometimes you are stuck, but you can always reset your clock, right? JR always says you can reset your clock at any moment's notice. Wise words, all you can do is all you can do, but all you can do is enough. You have to ask yourself, am I truly doing all I can do? Am I leaving it all on the table? I knew in that moment, in that picture, I hadn't done it all. To this day, I still haven't done it all. I am where I am because of where my mind's at. I am where I am because I haven't necessarily given everything of myself, but I will say thank you so much to the people in these pictures. Lisa Liu for teaching me that being loving and caring is a strength and not a weakness. Mauricio Mercado for teaching me no matter where you are in your life, you can be gracious and grateful. Mary for teaching me how to turn on beast mode at a moment's notice. Jen for teaching me how to be a true loyal friend no matter what. Kevin for teaching me what it's like to mentor and grow someone and love it, right? Richard for teaching me how to create urgency and how it's fun to create urgency. And Drayton, thank you so much for loving and caring for me even when I didn't deserve it. I mean, you guys are all standing anyway. If you're serious about getting to another level, I don't know what your purpose is. I don't know what your reason why. I want you guys to stay standing, all right? I want you guys to make a decision for yourself. If you really want to make a commitment for the next event, right, you have to tell yourself this. And I want you, if you're serious about it, just to repeat these words after me. I will do my absolute best. I will leave nothing in reserve. I will give everything it takes to achieve my dreams for myself and for my team. All right, guys, with that, I'm going to leave you. Let's get it into Miami. Let's be our absolute best, do our best for ourselves, do our best for our team, and I'll see everyone there.
The fortune is in the... Guys, JR talked a lot about yesterday about magic moments. So many great magic moments in this company, so many great stories. One of the stories he mentioned was of 4 years ago, MAIC, where he crossed the waterfall with a wheelbarrow. I remember this distinctly because that was my very first week in the business, and I was watching it at home on my computer screen. And I remember saying to my computer, I am in that wheelbarrow, and I believe. And that was a magic moment for me. I launched my business that week in Redding, California, at 21 years old. And that exact same week, my parents, my sponsors, my mentors, executive directors, David and Stacy Whited, who also just so happened to be the only other UnFranchise owners in Redding, California, moved to Houston, Texas. And I remember standing there thinking, if this is going to happen, it's because I'm going to make it happen. I was scared. I remember standing in my driveway, the cars were all packed, their stuff was all loaded up, and I remember talking to my dad, and I'm like, I don't know, am I going to be able to make this thing happen? He says, Colton, I promise you will not fail with this. You will make this thing happen. And I latched on to that belief. Sometimes you struggle with your own personal belief, but you can latch on to somebody else's belief. And I held on to that belief like it was the only thing I had for months. But they gave me some tools, and I want to tell you guys what they gave me in that time frame. They gave me a weekly checklist. They gave me a setup of this is what you should be doing every single week. They gave me a $20 gift card to a local coffee shop. And I remember they said, if you buy $1 coffees and show the plan 20 times, you're going to be successful with this business. Now, obviously, it took more than 20 times, but they knew if I showed the plan 20 times, I was going to develop the skills and I was going to end up being okay, and I'm so thankful for that. The last thing that they gave me was the ability to show the compensation plan. They taught me, we walked through it, they taught me exactly how to draw out the compensation plan. And I remember one of my very first appointments. I got the first real appointment. Like I was so excited, I was so fired up, I was going through my script, made the phone call, showed up at this guy's house on Wednesday night. His name is David Black. I think he's here today somewhere. Somewhere over there, apparently. And I show up, and he had 5 people sitting around the kitchen table ready to see the business plan with him. I'm 21 years old. I'm about to walk in, I'm about to walk right back out, man. I have no idea what I'm doing. I was terrified. I start out, I'm like, okay, I got this. All right. Step 1, apply. Step 2, create. Step 3, oh dear God, what's step 3? Totally froze in front of these 5 people. And David's leaning over, he's like, it's gonna be okay. I'm like, I know. I'll figure it out. There's a video. Can we watch the video? We transitioned over to the couch. 3 of his friends genuinely walked out. They're like, cute kind of thing. And they walked out of that appointment. David Black stayed. And we went back and forth, and he was asking some questions. I was, playing the video. He'd ask questions like, what's the BV to the dollar ratio? And I'm like, dude, I forgot step 3, man. I have no idea. But I know somebody who does. Mom! He's got questions! True story. Some of you guys are terrified to go show the plan. You guys want 3 amazing words when you show the plan? I don't know. I don't know. All I know is, I don't know, all I know is, and then connect them to your senior business partners. Connect them to people that do know, because you're part of a team. You're part of a team. If you don't know the answer, there's somebody who does. And I leaned heavily on that process. And that's how I began my business. I remember leaving that appointment, I was telling Dad, I'm like, man, that was terrifying. That was so bad. And I was like, man, it was bad. And he's like, I get it. He's like, but did you get the follow-up booked? And I was like, absolutely. He's coming to a meeting on Thursday. We're going to see it again. He had some more questions then. I better read some more before that appointment. And he says, oh, you killed it then. Congratulations. The follow-up was booked. Eventually, I got better at showing the plan. I was like, man, that was a good appointment. I remember walking out of an appointment. The lady cried. I felt like her life was changed. It was such a good appointment. I called up Dad. I was like, man, you should have seen it. Like, angels were singing in the background. The lights were, it was so good. And he's like, what's her next step? That's so good, Colton. What's her next step? And I was like, I don't know. I sent her home with some stuff. I'm not really sure what the next step is, but, she said she's really interested and excited. Fail. He said, showing the plan is a pass-fail system, and it all comes down to booking the follow-up. If I could say there's one skill that's gotten me to where I'm at today, it's I went all in on learning the skill of booking the follow-up. Mom and Dad said that everyone you sit down with, picture them like a thermometer. The more time that you spend with them talking about the business, the higher this thermometer is going to go. People start out, right? I have no interest. Anybody ever been at that appointment? They start out. They have no interest. Clearly, everything's indicating it. But you start to show them, you start to answer some questions, you start to help them, you start to cast the vision of where we're going, and the thermometer rises. They're like, sure, okay, I'll be a customer, I'll try some of the, cash back. If every single appointment you raise this thermometer just a little bit and then book the next step, you're gonna be in great shape. Eventually they're like, man, I'm interested in figuring out how to create this ongoing income. They come to a presentation, like, okay, I'm interested. You got my interest, what's next? Right? Eventually, they're sitting up here on these front rows and they're like, get out of my way, I'm gonna make millions, right? You guys see Triton yesterday? Woo! Man, I was having a hard time sitting in my seat. I was like, yeah, flip those cards, man, flip those cards. I was on it. It was so good. But you keep booking the follow-up and the thermometer continues to rise. But at any point that you don't book the follow-up, the thermometer starts to drop. So you gotta learn how to book the follow-up. I found this came down to two different pieces. One was technical, one was a mindset. I'm gonna go through both pieces here on how to book the follow-up. And the first part is, at the end of every appointment, I ask a very key question. You guys want the question? Yes. You guys interested in this question? Yes. What's the question? Come on. I love having you on the front. That's so good. Based on what you have seen so far, would you have enough interest to continue evaluating further? You can ask that in your own words, however that comes out for you. But you need to establish that they have interest in looking further. And if the thermometer rises at all, they're like, okay, what they start out as, I have no interest. But then it starts to rise. They got a little bit of interest. Okay, I'll check this out. That's your only job. That's your job when you show the plan, pass-fail system. Did the thermometer rise a little bit? Congratulations, you're gonna be a rock star. As long as you ask this question, based on what you've seen so far, would you have enough interest to continue evaluating further? That's the question. The statement, if they say yes, is this. You guys want the statement? Yes. Great. Here's what needs to happen next. Here's what needs to happen next. This keeps the flow moving. It lets them know that you actually know what needs to happen next. So before you walk into an appointment, you need to know what's coming up next in your area. We're leaving this meeting. I'm assuming if you're part of a GMTSS area, you have a local seminar coming up in about 5, 6, 7 weeks. That's the next thing. And hopefully before that, you got other meetings you can book them into. There's a home presentation, an unfranchised business presentation. Your job is to get them interested in moving forward by saying, great, here's what needs to happen next. It lets them know you're part of a system, and it lets them feel safe. You guys are all here for a business, right? You guys are all here to learn how to make significant income on an ongoing basis. Show of hands. All right, good, good. This also applies in a lot of arenas. In 2014, I met this beautiful, gorgeous angel of a woman. It was a movie night, and we're watching the movie Rain Man. I was on the other side of the room, and I heard this beautiful laugh coming from this other side of the room. I was like, I've got to get to know that laugh. That was such a good laugh. And I walked up to her, and I started talking to her. We had this great conversation. At the end of our appointment, our get-together, I didn't ask her if she wants to marry me. I didn't expect her to. If she did, that would be kind of weird. But I was like, you keep talking about your horse here. I would love to meet your horse. I was looking for anything, man, whatever it was. Foot in the door, we're good. By the time we were done with the conversation, dude, I thought I was a modern-day cowboy, man. I was in it. And she's like, yeah, let's go, let's go. I said, perfect. What are you doing on Saturday morning? She's like, I don't think anything yet. I said, perfect. I'll pick you up at 8:55. We'll go see your horse. Because 100% of the prospects you pick up show up. So I picked her up. We had this great time. And I was like, man, I had a great time. Based on what you've seen so far, would you have enough interest to continue evaluating further? Great. Here's what needs to happen next. What are you doing on Tuesday? Because you don't leave an appointment until the follow-up is booked. I'm still booking the follow-up. And I kept booking the follow-up until a very key thing happened. See, originally when we started talking, we started dating, we were very interested. It was, hey, someday if we get married, this would be really cool. I noticed one day it shifted from if to when. She goes, so when we get married, this is going to be awesome. I noticed that it stuck. I was like, oh, that's kind of an assumption there. A lot of times with your prospects, they're still kind of in the if mode. And you're kind of still in the if mode. You're qualifying them. But a very key thing happens because they're going to eventually go from if I do this thing, hey, so when I do this thing, what's the, and the when. The when. You book the follow-up until you get the when. You run with them, you run with them, you run with them until they're so deep in it, they can't imagine their way out. They can't imagine going back to their life of walking here and going home, and walking here and going home, waking up in a box, buy a box, eating out of a box, going to work in a box. Eventually they get put in a box. They stay Joe Nobody, their dash stays blank. And you have the freedom to get them out of it. You keep booking the follow-up. Here's a key thing to this whole deal, though. I found this out later. There's a real key to this whole thing, and it's the key called urgency. I heard it on an Elizabeth Weber audio. She goes, when you create a sense of urgency, you create urgency. Terrible Boston accent, I'm sure, but that was the best I could do. And I was like, I got to create this sense of urgency. How do I create urgency? Because there's, when you get started, there's not a lot going on. There was no system. I was the system. I was the system. And I'm rubbing sticks together, showing the business plan, rubbing sticks together, showing the business plan, trying to book the next step. You create urgency by creating value. It comes down to two things, value and vision. You gotta create value for every single thing. I'd show the plan on Tuesday, and I'm like, I got more people meet with me on Thursday. Can you make it on Thursday? They're like, I got something going on. It's last minute. It's always last minute, all right? 6 months from now, Miami's gonna be last minute. I'm just telling you. It's all last minute. But you create the value. Is there any way you could move that around to make it? It's really important that you're there. I push one time, not to be pushy, but because you don't know. When someone says no, all they're telling you is, what you just described to me is less valuable than what I already had in mind. So what you need to do is increase the value. You don't know what it was, yeah. Maybe Thursday night is their Netflix night, and they're like, oh man, I need to get up Netflix for this. But then you push one time, and they're like, okay. Yeah, okay, I'll be there. I'll move some stuff around. I'll be there. You push one time because it creates urgency. It creates value. Increase the value of the proposition. You'll have a lot more people moving forward because you created urgency from a sense of urgency. Because you got to create that sense first. And the second step is vision. The second step is vision. If you don't have the vision after this weekend, push rewind on your mind, go back to some videos. I don't know how you missed it because there was a lot of vision in this room. Wouldn't you guys agree? It was an amazing weekend. So once you get this vision, you understand where you're going and why you're going there. Here's the most important minute of showing the plan is the 1 minute before you walk in. When you get this right. When you get this right. So many people walk into a meeting trying to convince the other person this is a good idea. They're convincing. You guys want to know a key? Be convinced this is a good idea. And they will be convinced this is a good idea. Spend less time convincing them, more time convincing yourself, and you will create urgency. Every single time, that urgency will come. Be convinced. Listen to the audios. Listen to JR. Listen to Lauren. Man, Lauren killed it this weekend, didn't she? Woo! So good. What, when, why, how? Man, I loved it. I'm in it. Be convinced. Take that posture, take that vision, and adopt it. I'm going to end with a story. In 1950, there was a lady by the name of Florence Chadwick. Florence Chadwick swam the English Channel both ways. She was the first woman to ever do this, swim the English Channel both ways. And when they finished, they said, man, how's it feel? And she goes, I just hate the little asterisk of first woman. I want to be the first person to ever do something. So she goes back to her home state of California and wants to swim Catalina Island. It's about 20-something miles to Catalina Island from the main shore. And she's sitting there, and she starts to swim. She trained for about 2 months for this, starts to swim. She didn't realize it was going to be a very foggy day, and these guys in boats were following behind her, shooting away the sharks as they were coming up. And she swam. And eventually she started getting tired. We're about 14 hours into this thing, 15 hours in. 16 hours in, and she turns to her mom, she goes, I'm not gonna make it. And her mom says, it's okay, babe, you've already gone so far. Get back in the boat, it's totally fine. And she does. She does. And right as she does, the fog begins to clear, and she realizes she was less than a mile from shore. She came back 2 months later and swam it faster than the first time. And they asked her, how did you do it so much faster? Almost half the time it took her to fail. They said, how'd you do this? And she said, the island was burned into my brain. Every training session I had was burned into my brain. I pictured Catalina Island every morning and every night. And while I was swimming, I pictured it. What is your Catalina Island? What is your vision? What is so clear? Every morning you picture it, every night you picture it, every training session you picture it. Keep that clear in your mind. Let it drive you into Miami. Be convinced and book the follow-ups, and we'll see you guys in 6 months.
How's everyone feeling today? Day 4. Look at everyone still here, the commitment after 3 days of hard training, so much knowledge. We're still here I just love seeing the hunger and the drive to keep getting more and more knowledge. First and foremost, I want to thank Andrew and the corporate team for giving me this opportunity to share today. From so many great Flushing mentors, Amber Yang, Uncle Tom, Min Lu for just their mentorship. Of course, the opportunity to represent my team, Flush Philadelphia. I love you guys. You guys are amazing. Right? But my name is Kevin Duong, and a quick background on myself. Prior to Market America, my background is in engineering. I started this business, my journey in entrepreneurship, back in October of 2012, so coming up on 7 years. And I came right out of college in 2012 with a degree in mechanical engineering. I thought I did everything right. Had the grades. I even had a job guaranteed at a major aerospace company prior to even graduation, so I thought I was, on paper, successful. But I really had a wake-up call at a young age when I went into the corporate environment and really started to understand that trading time for money and really working for someone else and being leveraged. But the real wake-up call happened was when my father, who is a Vietnamese, came to this country in 1975 as a Vietnamese refugee, worked for the same company that I had just got hired into for 20 years of loyal service, blood, sweat, and tears, and he was laid off at the age of 63. Just a rug pulled right out from under him, and here I am, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, 22 years old, going into this, not even the same field, the same company. So I had a wake-up call at a young age that there's no such thing as job security, and I saw that 45-year plan, and I knew that I needed a way out. And that's why I'm so grateful to Caitlin Gormley, who you just heard from, who just poured her heart out on stage, and she gave me this opportunity to put this plan B in my lap. And I thank her every single day because I saw that magic of residual income. And I was able to find a part-time business and went to work at it. And, started at age 22, was able to retire myself at age 26. And no longer don't work for anyone. And it's all because of this incredible, incredible system. But I want to rewind the clock a little bit because when I started my business, right, I remember it like it was yesterday. It was a Dunkin' Donuts on Main Street, Newark, Delaware. Right? I'm from Bear, Delaware. I doubt if anyone knows where that is. But we were sitting at a table, and it was actually Caitlin Drayton was there, right? And he's drawing out. All I remember was 100% to infinity and that residual income. I was so excited. I went home that night and was doing so much research, not like the negative kind. I was like, I need to know this is real. I saw power profiles. I knew a lot of the $1 Million Club members before I even went to my second look because I just wanted to believe, is this real? Like people actually retired and have this ongoing income. And when I started this business, I thought that this would happen overnight, that people were just going to line up, right? Easy, It's just, again, 100% to infinity, capped income. You can share volume. It's, you can build internationally, online shopping, cashback. Who wouldn't want to do this? And I quickly realized that there's some fascinating people, and it didn't take me long where I started to look like this. I thought money was going to be raining down from the sky. 002, cap one out, start second, third, fourth, and man, this is cake. But then I started to really look like this because I realized that that's not how it works. And some partners on our team had it a little harder, right? You know, and there's a saying that if you haven't cried or wanted to quit, then you're not building the business. So, you know, isn't that the truth? But what I didn't know when I started this business is that you don't start the business a six-figure earner, right? You have to grow into it, and you have to become a person. You have to become a $1 million, six-figure earner up here, and you have to grow into it. And that's why, again, I'm so grateful to have the mentorship that I've received, because I definitely would not be standing here today if it weren't for the help and support of other people, right? But you know, what I want to do is just share, because you know, this isn't about me. You know, this is really about you today, and I just want to share some experiences that I've had that I believe are some of my magic moments where I don't know if I would be standing here today had it not been for some of these experiences. And hopefully you can take something away and it impacts you and you can apply it in your life and in your business. But like talking about becoming a better person, that six-figure earner, you have to build a foundation. When you're building a skyscraper, you know, if anyone here builds skyscrapers, right, you have to lay that foundation. And a lot of that work up front is by digging that foundation. And when that skyscraper is done, you don't see the foundation underground, right? So you have to grow your mindset, books and audios. I'm so grateful that even at the age I was at to be exposed to the concept of personal development, that you can have more than you've got because you can become more than you are by associating with successful authors like Robert Kiyosaki and Dale Carnegie and John Maxwell, Brian Tracy. The list goes on and on and on to feed my brain and to leverage the decades and decades of experience that these authors have put together in book format so you can read it in a week and gain that. And you know, I always say is that your most valuable asset is your mindset. Because when you grow that, no one can take that from you. It's yours and you own it. And so your goal, if anything, in this business is to cultivate an alliance. You have to cultivate an alliance between yourself and your mind. Because some of us out there are at war with our own mindsets, right? But not only with you know, personal development, but also you become who you associate with. Not to sound like arrogant, but I consider myself a winner because I hang out with winners on a day-to-day basis. I surround myself with Mauricio Mercado, Vicente Serrano, Caitlin Drayton, Brett, Mark, you know, Sean Gornick. Man, that guy is just unrelenting winner. And, you know, my brother Richard, who's just, you know, my ride or die in this business. But, you know, you become the five people you surround yourself spend the most time with, right? And if you're the best person in your five, you're with the wrong five. The top 5% do things the bottom 95% won't do. This is actually me, right? And I know what you're thinking, you shouldn't be taking pictures while you're driving, right? But in Delaware, there's really not many things to hit, so it's okay. But when I was running this business, I was pretty much by myself in Delaware. You know, there wasn't really a lot of team. Everyone was in Philadelphia, so if I wanted support or training, you know, I would have to drive that hour trek for ABC training, coring, and a lot of times, because people would work until late, you know, have meetings, business exposures, product previews, our trainings didn't start until 9, 10, maybe sometimes 11 o'clock at night, and we wouldn't finish until midnight, 1, and here, this is me driving on 896 back to Baird, Delaware, and I hadn't made a single commission yet. There's not a lot going on in my business. People I sponsor quit, and I'm just like asking myself, is this real? Like, am I gonna make this? Is this gonna work? Is it gonna happen? But one thing I would always do, I would look out and ask myself, what do I see? And the answer was always nothing. Everyone's asleep. Everyone's waiting to wake up to go to their jobs tomorrow. No one else is doing what I'm doing. Therefore, I have to make this work. It has to work because no one else is doing what I'm doing. So if you're at that moment, just know that you have to become successful. The universe is going to make it happen because you're doing what other people aren't doing. This is one of my favorite quotes, you know, by Thomas Jefferson. I'm a great believer in luck, and I find the harder I work, the more I have of it. I love this, you know, I saw this at a young age, and it's just impacted me. It's tattooed into my brain, right? So business wasn't really growing in Delaware. I'm gonna get to this. Business wasn't really growing in Delaware, so I thought, I need to move to where the heat is. I need to move to Philadelphia. And a couple of our partners, we found this house in East Falls, Philadelphia. It was called Freedom Headquarters. We even had Google Maps change the name so you could look up Freedom Headquarters, Philadelphia. My house would come up. I lived with Vicente Serrano, my brother Richard, and William Olega. And I know that this house doesn't look like a lot, but you can fit a lot of partners in it. We had courings, product previews, ABC trainings 5 nights a week. And on any given week, there had to been anywhere from 80 to 100 partners coming in. The door was always unlocked, right? But that was that was literally our Freedom Headquarters, our hub, where partners. I mean, just make some noise. Sorry, but flush it out. Make some noise if you had any RPAs at Freedom Headquarters, right? Like, we made it happen there. But there's one story in particular I want to talk about that really resembles commitment. That we had a second look, but it just so happened it was in early March of 2015, and a big snowstorm came into Philadelphia, and hotels were shutting down. Our room was canceled. But we had guests in the funnel that needed to see a second look because we had a local seminar that next week. We had Region coming up. We can't take a day off. When you're an entrepreneur, you can't take a day off, right? And the area I live in, it's really hilly. So if you need a Humvee to literally get around on these snowy roads, but we said, we need to make it happen. We had 10 guests confirmed that night, but we had to make that decision. We need to have this second look. 10 guests confirmed, only 2 showed up. But the 2 guests that showed up happened to be Steve Jean-Louis, who is a phenomenal leader on our team today, executive coordinator, and also Andrea Tinkoff, who's a senior master coordinator today, both leading phenomenal teams. But the question is, what would have happened if we canceled that HBP and we didn't have it at our house, right? There's people here today that might not even be here if we didn't zig or zag. And you have to ask yourself that question. If you're tempted to not take action, that means you have to take action. You have to do it because you might be missing out on lives that you could impact. True leadership is an all-in mindset. This is a really particular moment that was in Chinese boot camp of 2015. And this picture, this is the actual moment. I couldn't believe there was actually a picture of it, but I found it. But it was the meeting after the meeting where on Sunday evening, everything was done. And, my brother Richard, who was sharing, long story short, because it's a long story, but my brother has a medical background, and prior to starting his business, he was on pace to go into medical school, and he had gotten accepted. And I'd seen this guy just inspire me with his tenacity and his commitment of just never giving up, taking his MCAT over and over, and not quitting until he got in and hit his goal. But when he started building this business, he took a year off before going to school. And he was able to build a team, and he made promises to people that I'm going to build this with you, and I'm going to get you to where you want to go. But when the time came for him to decide if he was actually going to go to school, he actually pulled the plug and said, I'm not going to go. I'm going to keep the promises that I made to people and ensure that I do everything I can and go all in and help them become successful. And, He might get some criticism that he's pushy or he's aggressive. But let me tell you something. When he burned that bridge, this business was it for him. There was literally no other option for him. Either build this business or he was going to be selling puka shell necklaces on the beach, right? And he burned his bridge. And honestly, he should be standing here better than me. I think he deserves this spotlight more than I do because I can guarantee you there's hundreds of, tens if not hundreds of people that would not be in this business if not for that decision he made that weekend. So, another round of applause for him. Another magic moment for me was the power of goal setting, right? And when I started the business, I set the goal for Supervising Coordinator October 13th, 2016. And it was an arbitrary goal. I really had no stair-step plan, I'll admit. but I just put the date down. I kind of treated it like a 4-year degree. You can graduate college in 4 years. October 13th was actually be my 4-year anniversary. It just so happened that that last commission check cut on Friday, October 14th, 2016. I missed the goal by 1 day. And I saw the magic of setting a goal and actually the universe conspiring in your favor, and it just happened, and it was magical. I thought, oh my God, this actually happened. And that was, October 13th, that was actually 2016, that was the day I wanted to actually walk away from my 45-year plan. I missed it by about 8 months, because on Monday, June 12th, 2017, that's when I officially retired myself from the 45-year plan. I walked away from the Boeing company. This is actually the day that I left my job, right? Thank you, I appreciate that. And it was incredible because, it was 10 a.m. and I'll be honest, it was a Monday morning, and I had worked in an office with no windows for 5 years, and to see the sunlight on a Monday morning, I liken to that feeling, when you're a kid and that last day of school and it's summer vacation, I'm free. I don't have to come in tomorrow. I can't tell you, it's such a good feeling. People ask me, what's the first thing you did? I got a haircut. As you can see, I needed one. And I went to go prospect, because I can't wait to dive on my business. I'm full-time retired into my business now. There's no better feeling than that. So, coming in for a landing, you have to have vision. You have to believe in the impossible before you see it. And coincidentally, you actually saw this picture prior with Jen, but this picture was a magic moment for me because this was my first World Conference in 2013. There's 21 of us there. And I remember after we took this picture, I looked at it, and I just had to stand there for a good 10 minutes just looking at it, and I saw the diversity of so many people there that I can almost guarantee without this business would have never really collided paths. But because of this, now we're on this journey together. Different ethnicities, different socioeconomic backgrounds, education levels, but now we're all on the same goal, fighting for each other. And it was a magic moment for me because I really believe we have something so powerful that anyone, no matter your background, you can come in and you can be welcomed on this team. If you really have a desire and there's going to be a family to help you, you have to work for it, but we're going to fight for you 100% of the way. And I'm so proud that we've kept that value, that culture so strong even today, if not stronger, because even to this day now, we had over 250 people at our last regional event in Ocean City. Still keep fanning the flames and keeping that vision alive, but I'm just going to back up a little bit because you'll see that the common thing, the most important thing about this is that everyone's holding a ticket, right? That was the key. We had that ticket to the event. Right? And that's why it's so important for you, if you have a vision for yourself, if you want to fill an arena of your organization, impacting lives, you have to get your ticket first, and you have to secure yourself so you can impact other lives. And that's why you need to make sure that you have your ticket to Miami World Conference 2020 to take this company to the top and impact future generations, guys. So I appreciate the opportunity. I hope this was helpful, and I'll see you at the top. Thank you.
How we doing, Market America? Come on, a little bit more. How we feeling? It's all about the energy you give out is the energy you're going to get back, right? So I want to start off with this, right? You don't have to be anything special to run this business. Just follow the whole system. I took the wrong jacket here, right? So it's my old jacket, doesn't even match, right? So you got to have fun with yourself sometimes and laugh at yourself. What a day. What an incredible weekend. So let me get started. Brett Portelli, Team Philadelphia. I started the business at 19 years old, right? A lot of people see pictures of us now, right? This is Drayton, Mark, myself. This is, I believe, in Ocean City. This may be on Utopia. This was maybe Rhode Island. This is actually Ocean City 2015. People see these photos and they're like, oh, that's awesome, But the reality of it, this is really me. I love to go to the beach. I don't know if anybody else loves the beach and the water, right? I grew up literally a mile from the beach. I was that crazy person that would go into the water during the hurricanes, not go the other way, right? So we love to golf, right? My whole family golfs. This is actually all my uncles and my cousins. Love the Rangers. Sorry for anybody else that's not from New York, right? So love to surf, as I mentioned. And then there's Brittany and Kevin, Sean, and myself. This is actually, we went on a cruise with Amber and a few other people. So this is what, the real me is. But my why is always about family. I'm Italian, love family. I don't know if anybody else can relate. It's just like everything's about family. I want to take care of them. I want to make them proud. I want to make sure that I take care of the future generations to come. And my mom and my dad have done so much for me. I can't even get into it. I'll get into it in a little bit, though. My sister, which is on my right, in the white, is Gabriella. She has autism, and my sister on my left, Veronica, is very independent, very strong. But for me, it was always about making sure both of them are taken care of as the oldest. I'll get into that in a little bit. But I want to go more for you guys, right? How to actually build a team, how to actually put something together. Is that okay that we go into a team building exercise? All right, cool. We're going to have some fun here. How to actually invest into your team. First things first, make a decision to build one. You have to make a decision, hey, I'm going to go build a team. Well, what does that mean? Well, don't I have to have a team? Well, yeah, but at the same time, it's like there's a decision to be made. It's not, I'll try. It's not, I'll see if it works out. It's not, I'll give it 3 months and see. I'll tell you, I had that mindset. I started my business in June 2011, right? And I literally said to myself, I'm going to give this till Christmas and see if it works. What do you think happened? Not much, right? So the decision is, you have to decide to go all in, right? You have to decide to make sure that the team is getting built. At the same time, you have to recruit, qualify now, right? The best team possible. Why wouldn't you? Why would you settle? And I'm not saying anybody is settling, but I'm saying, why not go after, the top of the best of the best of the best? We heard it all weekend, right? If you're going to create a football team or create a basketball team or create whatever, wouldn't you want the best player for that position on your team? Absolutely. But it's not just all about resume. This is something that we get messed up on. We think it's like resume, okay, this person, this tier, this tier, this tier. It's more about the values and the characters of the person that you're looking for. Do they have a burning desire? Do they have a why? Are they in some pain? And are they truly willing to make a change for the better? Because that's what you want to have. At the end of the day, no one here is getting paid in terms of employment. We're all independent. We're all working together, though, and we're all kind of volunteers. John Maxwell talks about it all the time. I don't care how great of a leader you are. I'll tell you how great of a leader you are based on leading an organization that's voluntary. And that's what you guys are doing, leading a volunteer army. Something special, so you want to recruit the best of the best. At the same time, pay the price to develop the team. Pay the price up front. I'll get into a couple of the prices that we've paid, but it's wouldn't you want to make sure you make the sacrifices first? A lot of times people want the money, people want the success, but then it's oh man, I want to go to bed at 9 o'clock. Well, that's nice. 9 to 5 is to keep up, and what you do after 5 o'clock is what you do to get ahead. Right? So you have to work, you have to work. And it wasn't about, there was no time clock. When we first started, Dre, and I'm so thankful, I'll get into, thanking you in a second, but it's I'm so thankful that Dre put this in my lap, and it was no we clock in, clock out. It was we just go until the time is, up, until we pass out. Fall asleep, take naps in the car, weird stuff. But you pay the price up front, you invest, and you do everything for your team and expect nothing in return. I'm going to say that again, do everything for your team and expect nothing in return. If you do it based off of what you expect in return, it's not authentic. Do the things together as a team. A lot of times, when you're successful, you think, okay, I can do it really well. I'm going to talk about myself here. Anybody ever think hey, I can do it better if it was just me? I can go in, just tell me what to do, I'll do the work, and it's just me, no one's going to come after me. That's how I thought. But at the end of the day, it's about our whole team, what we can do together. Your success is dependent upon what? Your entire team's educational level, not just yourself. So you have to make sure you're investing into your team, investing into them, doing things together, the car rides together, windshield time, audio time. Man, you know how many car rides going from Jersey to Philly to Delaware, Delaware to New York? Oh my goodness. And it was just that little things together are so important. It's magical. Call workshops, so many things I can get into. I just don't have the time today. Empower team members with responsibility. So many times we joke with each other. We take each other hey, we have a good time. It's cool to be a level 2 leader, which is relationship. But at the same time, you have to empower them and believe in them more than they believe in themselves. All the time. You're always on display. I'm going to drill this home. You always are on display with your team. So what you do with your team, and by the way, your team is everyone in here. So what you do, it gets reflected upon everybody in here. Meaning how you treat somebody, I don't care if they're financially attached or not, you're always on display. So you always empower people. I don't want to hear you making fun of somebody. I don't want to hear you bullying someone. I don't want to hear you tearing somebody down. You know how small you have to be to do that? It's just a reflection of yourself at the end of the day when you do that about somebody. When you really believe in someone, and the strongest person is being able to put them on stage, say thank you for all you do, and you can sit down and say, you know what, I'm proud for their success like Kevin just did with his brother Rich. That's a strong leader. It's not about Kevin. It's about our team. Give credit to the success. I just already alluded to this. Give credit for the successes of the team. Look, this mindset might be a little harsh, but it's the reality. You know, everything that goes right, it's because of the team. Everything that goes wrong, it's because of me. Say that again. Everything that goes right is because of the team. Everything that goes wrong is because of me. Not that you're always beating yourself up, but it's always, hey, how do I self-reflect? How do I get better? Where can I improve? And we've always been taught this. It's, what did I do well? Where can I improve? What did I do well? Where can I improve? It's not what did I do wrong. Where can I improve? Where can I improve? Where can I improve? You know why Drayton is so good at speaking? Can we agree with that? Like how he speaks? Like, okay, when we first started our business, when we first started, we're like, oh, we're going to be so successful. We're going to be this big, big, big team. I'm like, great, where's the team? He's like, it's you, me, and like 2 other people. I'm like, great, yeah, we have a strong shot here, right? So he was like, Brett, we're going to be successful, I swear. I'm like, all right, man, I'm fired up with you. But then it was like 7 of us in a circle, like our little meeting after meetings, and it was like, okay, what's your name and one thing that you like? And Drayton got in, and he would like shake and like get red and like sweat, and then like voice got really high, and like Drayton's a big dude. So it was just like really funny. And then he was like, Brett, well, you do it. For me, I sweat a lot. So like everyone that knows that, it's like, you know, like it went through like 3 like shirts in like a minute. It got red, like just awful pictures. But the point is, what I'm getting at is people develop, and why Drayton is so successful is because of all the success he's done in terms of the repetitions, and you grow. But at the same time, if you ever ask him, he'll always point it back to the team. He'll always say it's because of our team, it's because of the team, because of the corporate team, because of Market America. He'll never take it for himself. Watch to see if your investment in the team is paying off. Watch to see if your investment in the team is paying off. What do I mean by this? Well, we have to build a business. If you're giving your time back, which is the most valuable asset you have, and giving it to other people, don't you want to see them grow? Don't you want them to see them grow into what they become? Don't you want them to be taking on ownership? So you have to make sure you're watching. And a lot of times I fall victim to this too, where it's like you start working with people that you like rather than the people that deserve your time. I'm going to say that again. You start working with the people that you like rather than the people who deserve your time. It might be a little harsh, but it's the truth. I'm not saying you don't like everybody. I'm saying that, hey, we have to move here, which I'll get into in a second why I'm kind of passionate about that. Stop investing in players who don't want to grow or don't want to change. The hardest thing is to accept that sometimes you want the success more for your people than they want it for themselves. That's the hardest thing. I care a lot about people, which I'll get into. The hardest pill still, 8 years going, is looking someone and knowing they can do it if they just believe in themselves. It's the hardest thing to accept, but sometimes people just don't want to grow, and you have to move on and invite them along with the journey. So you have to continue to watch where you're putting your time. Create your opportunities for the team. What does that mean? Well, put them in a position to win. You know, think about it. If you're running a team, you're your coach, you're a mentor, you're whatever, you know, John Wooden, anybody familiar with John Wooden? Right? What he would do to illustrate this is actually take the starting 5 every single year, right, and take the secondary string of the starting 5, right, and they would actually match each other in practice, the first season or the first practice of the year. And he would say, okay, great, the starting 5, you can play any position but the position in which that you're going to start, and the secondary, you have to play in the position that you're known for. So like pretty much the point guard would go to play center, the center would play point, and they would mix it up. And every single year, he wrote about it in his book, the secondary string would always beat the first string players. Why? Because they're putting them in a position, or lack thereof, not in the right position. So you as a leader need to know your players' strengths, need to know your players' weaknesses, and put them in a position to maximize. So you have to look for opportunities for the team to win. Give the team the best possible chance to succeed. This is pretty self-explanatory, but at the end of the day, give them the best chance. Meaning, realistically, you do everything and anything for them. You create an environment. Lauren talked about it yesterday, the atmosphere. You create that for your team. You're responsible for that atmosphere for them to grow. That's the whole point. There are setbacks. And I'll have a few minutes here to go through this, but this is kind of where the reality comes in. A lot of people look at it now, it's like, okay, 6, 7, 8 years later, you know, Philadelphia, this, you did so well. You know, there are a lot of setbacks, a lot. You know, a lot of lack of resources. You know, starting at 19 years old, we always talk about how much credibility and know-how and all the stuff that you have. I had nothing. Drayton, we had nothing. You know, but, you know, people make fun of it now. You know, we come to a convention, but this is reality, but come to convention and it's like I've had no food in my stomach besides a protein bar since Wednesday. Protein bars all the time. Trust me, I can afford food. But the reality was, at 19, 20 years old, I couldn't. Because I was on a $200 budget. I had to requirement, you know, I had to make sure that I came up with 50 BV and all that other stuff. So I lived off of $90 a month. And I figured out a way to live off $90 a month while in school, while paying myself through school. So then I would literally eat eggs, peanut butter, and bread, literally for the first 2 years of my business, because every dollar I had went into Market America and the team. Every dollar. There's going to be harsh opinions of others. Yeah. And it's not me, it's really, you know, I have to thank Drayton for setting that example because, you know, what that guy's done, it's amazing. But harsh opinions of others. I'll be vulnerable for a second, but I'm the type of person that I care, like I said, I care a lot about people. My sister, my magic moment was actually in 2013. I came home from college. I was about 20, 21 years old, and I remember coming home, and I came in, for those of you who have been to my house for HVPs and whatever, it's like as you walk in through the garage, there used to be a computer, and the computer is where my sister would sit, and you know, she has autism, and she's struggling, and she was crying, but I was so caught up in my own life that I didn't even realize that I storm up into my own room. I come back down, I'm like, let me make sure I talk to my sister. Say hi, I see that she's crying, and I'll never forget that she just turned, and she was like, Brett, like, why am I not normal? Why don't I have friends? And why aren't you home? I'll never forget it. And I'm like, I need to make sure this business works for her. Thankfully, now, fast forward 5 years, it is. But I carry that into every single person on the team because I know and I care about the team. I truly, when I tell you I care, I care. I'm not the type of person that says I care because I want you to follow me. I don't care about being followed. I just want to make sure we succeed. I care about you. And it hurts when people tell you that you don't. A lot. You know, Dryan and I just joke sometimes. I'll tell you a couple things. It's like, I remember being a 20-year-old kid at St. Joe's, and there was this partner, and he's like, oh, I want you to meet my mom and dad. And I was like, all right, I'll meet your mom and dad. Like, this is great. We're finally, out of 18, 20 years old, right? And we sit down, and little did I know I was walking into a slaughter, right? So literally, they came in to pretty much tell me how bad of a person I am, right? And like, they kind of ripped me apart. And I remember for a week just having this sick stomach just because I'm just like, it didn't affect me in the sense of like, I'm going to quit. It was just like, I can't believe there's people out there that don't understand that like, we actually care about the greater cause. So people are going to give you crap. There's going to be partners that are not going to believe, but you know what you represent. And that's why I said before that it's not about the resume, it's about the character and the values. You stay true to your values, and you always come home to your character, and the right people will follow you to the top. Always. Well, how did you get through to it? I was just telling you that story. Uzman, a great partner of ours, actually recorded it one day for me and sent it to me in an email. He used to always send me all these talks back in the day, and one of them was me in a peak state about like my sister, my wife, and I would play it to myself in the car like Kate was talking about. I still do it today. It's like, record my wine. I'll get into a peak state much of which I'm not going to get into right now, but I'll just be like, you're the best, you're the best, builder, you're awesome, you're this, you're going to retire your mom and dad, you're going to make sure your sister's taken care of, your future family is going to thank you, make them proud, and I would just go off and off and off and off. Meanwhile, I'm getting texts from partners saying, I don't think this is for me, customers telling me this. It's like, record your state. Never forget why you started and continue to push through. I will tell you, you're going to have ups and you're going to have downs. You're going to have ups and you're going to have downs. When you have the downs, that is the last point. You should never separate but pull together. You're at your weakest state. You need to pull together. Get yourself through it. And at the end of the day, why should I ever believe that I'm better than anybody else? Because I'm not. JR, Lauren, the corporate team, they've created an atmosphere for us to become amazing. We have a system, the GMTSS, in order for all of us to succeed. We have the MPCP, the best plan in the world. So who am I to say that I'm better than anybody else? I'm not. There's 2,000 people that make more, it's just nuts. Never ask a team what you can do or what they can do for you. It's always what you can do for them. Never forget where you come from. JR says this all the time because you might not be able to get home. You're nothing without your team. Who am I without the team? You take away the team, what do? I make a few dollars retail profit. Be grateful for what you have, share with the world, be thankful for those who paved the path before you. I'm so incredibly thankful for Drayton for introducing me, for the associations of just like Kevin and Kate and Jen and Sean and Mark and Andrea, and I can go down the list, Paulo and Pat, and I can go down the list of so many great leaders, Mauricio, that have done so much for myself. I'm nothing without those guys. They pull me out of so many holes they don't even know about it, so thank you for everything you guys have done. At the end of the day, I'll see you in Miami. Who has their 3 tickets? Who has their 3 tickets? Hey, I challenge you to get at least 1 more, 2 more, 3 more. At the end of the day, it's not about you, but it's about a ripple effect. Drayton talked about that infinite ability to create change. You shouldn't be the reason why that stops. I personally bought 10 tickets. I hope a few of you buy more tickets because we owe it to the company to grow it and make this the best, best kept secret in the world. I love you guys. Thank you so much for everything.
It's absolutely my honor, and I'm humbled to share with you my journey with Market America. My background used to be in financial services, and I'm from Flushing, New York. And and I'm the typical first-generation immigrant story. When my mom and I moved here, I went to Juilliard Music School for classical piano. And we thought we were going to come here, study hard, get a good job, and settle for success. But when I graduated from Columbia University, I found myself a 6-figure income job working in Wall Street. And you know what people always ask me? Do you guys chant like Wolf of Wall Street every single morning? And do you only make $100 bills? When I started working, reality hits. I realized in order to make that 6-figure income, I had to trade 80 hours of my week and pay 48% tax in order to trade that temporary income. I'm sure we all can relate. The money we work, we get. Once we stop working, we get 0. And I felt stuck. I felt frustrated. And I had no control over my time, over my money, and over my financial future. I really thank my mother, Min Liu, for introducing this business to me, and most importantly, for choosing this business 20 years ago when we had absolutely nothing. We had no money, no time, no friends, no car, no computer, no language. You've heard all of those. But I want to get this to you, though. You know what we also didn't have? We had no excuses. When your back is against the wall, you really have to, any opportunity, grab on it, try it, then miss it. And I thank her for doing that. I've seen how she was able to change my grandparents' health situation, providing that health and quality of life for the past 17 years. And also, for me, paid for my entire college tuition at Columbia University, $200,000. Every penny came from business. So thank you so much, JR, for this incredible business. So you probably thought I would jump in both feet with so much belief because I've seen it and grew up with this business. But you know what? You can never borrow someone else's belief. Can we believe that? And she really had to follow up with me patiently for 6 years. She had to lure me. Come, come, come. Miami, beach, sun, bikini, beautiful place to be. Mom, talk to my hand. I can travel with my friends. And she had to convince me, this business is great. You definitely want to check it out. Your mom's pretty successful in this. And she was already $1 million earner. She was a director going on executive director. You should come and support. I said, great job, Mom. Keep going. Stay humble. And finally, when she actually said, called my full name, Olivia Li. Now I said, no problem, Mom. So I showed up to my very first convention. And that was the game changer. I saw JR's belief, I saw the corporate team's conviction, and I was inspired. I started to dare to dream again. And it really, the rest was history. However, people always think the person we are today, I'm sure you've seen it with Caitlin as well, everybody thinks that we can do this business. Jackie, you can do this, right? David, you can do this. But really, everyone had to go through breaking down to break through, like Lauren always preaches, right? And really, it's not just about the end destination, it's how you got there. So for me, I had to go through several breakdown to breakthrough moments. The very first one, I had to drop my ego and started to build posture. I used to always say, I don't want to talk to people. I had that banker mentality. You know, we were trained to look confident. But really, what I used to like to do didn't make me residual income, correct? So I had to choose, if it's a business, you focus on what you have to do rather than what you like to do. If you treat it like a hobby, it's gonna cost you money. If you treat it like a business, the 3 tickets that you invest in is gonna make you millions residual income. So I had to tell myself, what I used to hate, now I need to like. I need to brainwash myself. I need to positive affirmation every day. Right? I love talking to people. I love making friends. I am a residual income machine. I am a time-making machine. I'm a millionaire-making machine. So I have to brainwash myself every day. And I have to what? Change the mentality that the team isn't growing, it's simply because it duplicated me. So breakdown to breakthrough moment only comes when we empty out our cup. Right? I have to really ask myself, do I really take ownership of my own success? Have I really done the basic 5? Or did I only do part of the basic 5 that I felt comfortable with? I could use a product, I could share the products, but I had trouble recruiting. Okay, so then if I don't break through in the area, that will always be my weakest link. So I started to face the reality. I said, whatever I lack in skill sets, I can make it up by number. And I'm gonna say that again. It's so important. What we lack in skills, we can make up by number, because I can prove it to you. Remember, Drayden was doing the card? I was the person, right? My very first 23 appointments sold the ticket to a local seminar, and I had to build completely from stranger markets. Because when I started, young, wet behind the ears, and a lot of my coworkers, colleagues working in Wall Street, you know, making great 6-figure income, and they used to laugh at me. You graduated from Columbia to do that? They didn't even know what I did. They never even took an hour to look into what I did. So should I listen to them? That's not gonna pay my future bills? Or should I really listen to my own vision or seed vision, because we are here this weekend? So my first 23 no's, if I stopped anywhere along those 23 no's, my ratio of success for prospecting, qualifying, and sponsoring is 0. Can we agree? But I was focusing on the process, not the results. Here's another big thing. If we only focus on results, we get frustrated. You're looking for short-term mentality. We gotta tell ourselves, drop short-term mentality, start building long-term vision. We're not doing this business just for another $300. We're doing this for our freedom to buy our time back. So focus on the process. Have I done a better show on the plan? Did I make better calls? You know, working on that process and sharpening up that skill sets, right? So really, you know, lack in number, 23 no's, and the 24th was a yes. So now my ratio is 1 out of 24, still not good. Then my 25th was a yes too. That brought my number to 1 out of 12. My 26th was also a yes. That brought my number to 1 out of about 8 people I showed the plan to. So that's my ratio for the first 2 to 3 years, where about 8 to 10 people I show the plan to. Completely cold market prospecting, learn how to build relationship, learn how to become good at asking questions, because that's a learning curve, right? So then after my first 2 to 3 years, my ratio got even better, right? Maybe 1 out of 6 people I show the plan to, 1 out of 4 people I show the plan to. So really through that process, number one, focus on the process, not the results, but really keep that proactive mindset to learn how to discipline your disappointment, right? A no is just not now, we're getting closer to your next yes, but really collecting those skill sets. So really, going forward, I committed to doing massive, consistent action. And we always talk about whatever you fear the most, you gotta do more. Whatever you fear the most, you gotta do more. I was fearful to talk to people. I was fearful to show the plan. But you know what? I have to show the plan in order to be able to recruit myself, build that belief, because JR always says recruiting reflects belief. I thought I had the belief. I thought I've seen the income building my entire family's financial and time freedom. But you know what? That wasn't my belief. I didn't believe that I could do it. So in order to really build belief, the best way is to take massive action and go berserk with this process. So the 3-1-2 every day, 10-3-2, once I did that, results started to show. And another thing I really benefited from was learn to listen. I had the privilege to listen to one of Frank Kiefer's local seminars or district rallies in Pennsylvania, and I completely realized why I couldn't build a relationship. Because I was listening to reply. I wasn't listening to understand. When people were telling, I asked them, where do you work? How do you like the job that you've been working for the past 5, 10 years? And people were telling me their story. In my mind, I'm thinking, how should I book this person to the next UBP? How should I get this person to give me his phone number? So I wasn't listening. We got to empty everything out. So that's why it's so important to really remember it's a people business. At the end, we're not selling anything but belief and connection and relationship with people. So be interested in people, not just the product or the two-on-ones or the appointment that we're trying to sell. We're really getting interested. Empty out your mind. Don't think about Market America. Don't think about anything that you're trying to sell. Think about the themes that we always talk about. So what's going to help us to become better in terms of working on listening? Number one, you got to always stay hungry. It's that passion, right? It's not where we are, but it's where we're going to be. So that passion, we're hungry for growth. We're hungry for success. How many people would love your team to have a culture of being addicted with growth, being addicted with knowledge, right? Being addicted with breaking through. And that's what we've been building, team culture, right? Whatever you want the team to do, who's got to do it first? We do. And what's staying foolish? Don't let success get to your head, and don't let failure get to your heart, right? Don't let success get to your head. Some people always feel like, oh, I'm somebody now. And guess what? When we have only room for ego, there's no room left for wisdom, right? So staying foolish, have that mentality. It's just the process. Trust in the process. And going forward, I was challenged by my leaders and the team to focus on duplication. So Master UFO program. And it took me a while to finish my first UFO program, because my first UFO program, it used to be sponsoring 2 people. I hit maybe 50%, 70% of it. But really, once you've hit Master UFO, you gotta consistently do 10 times of UFO. And if you really duplicate that process with a team, that's the 2 to 3 year plan. So I really focused on duplicating the Master UFO program and adding on the Chairman's Challenge And within that 1.5 years, I was able to break through from EC level. I was at executive coordinator level for more than 1.5 years. But you know what? I knew exactly why that happened. Because it takes time to sharpening up my skill sets. Right? People said, wow, you went to Juilliard Music School for piano. You must be lucky. You must be really gifted. They didn't know. I had to practice 12 hours a day, not skipping a day since I was 4 years old until 18 years old. That's what gets you to success. So I knew what it means by going through the repetition, 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 repetition. Rehearse, rehearse, rehearse. Practice, practice, practice. Right? Don't even think about how many times you've done it. It's just what we do. Every day showing the plan, every day talking to 2 people, every day booking appointments, every day, adding names. So the next challenge was if I only do it myself, I'm limited, right? I'm only doing it by myself, so now I gotta duplicate that success. So the success, you've heard it before, is average of your entire team's education level. Not prior to the business, not outside the business, but within Basic 5. What's your team's education level in Basic 5? How many people in our team can master the Basic 5? How many people in our team can show the plan, can share the products, can do the daily 10 things? So really going forward, I started to challenge my next breakthrough. I was always afraid to sell tickets, especially on the first look or even after HBPs, because we were all young, wild, and broke at one point. So it was so hard for me to think, wow, $75 tickets to a regional, $200 ticket to Miami with a flight and etc. But you know what? Cancel, cancel. That's limiting belief, not because of the excuse, is I didn't believe enough, right? So we got to cancel that and really set expectations for success, not what's convenient, right? We always say convenience, success, you can never have both, right? So success was meant to be inconvenient. So I started to what? It's all about the value of the ticket, not about the price of the ticket. So if you believe, how many people here believe in our company's system, our training, our GMTSS? If you believe in our GMTSS and the value of the training here, the value of the information, the residual income that everyone's dying for out there, then why don't we? Right? If this business is good enough for me, it's good enough for everybody around us. Right? You gotta have that posture every day. So plugging people into the system. And UFO, Master UFO, this was one of my magic moments. Dennis, you were choosing one of the people to share a few minutes about how UFO program has helped you. And you know what? You gotta visualize. I was always so afraid of the stage, right? Looking from far behind and wow, I would pass the mic back to Dennis and say, see you later. But really, when you visualize, what am I gonna say when I'm standing on stage? What's gonna be my success profile? What's gonna be my challenges? What are the stories I'm gonna share to inspire with other people? So once I got the Big Pink UFO program, being consistent with Master UFO, and I realized we gotta succeed in order for others to realize their dream. So JR, we're doing what you teach us, and it's all in the implementation. And you know what? Really be thankful for people who care about us. Be thankful for people who share this business with us. And I've always seen how my mother leveraged this business and really provide that quality of life. Last November, I lost my grandmother. And my mom, her only dream, number one, was put me in through the college I dream of. She did that. The second thing was to provide that quality of life for my grandma. And we were able to do that for the past 17 years. And guess what? The last 43 days before her pass, we were able to stay in the hospital every single second with my grandmother. And every single nurse and doctors were so amazed by the kind of time freedom we were able to provide. And you know what? We don't want those moments to happen. But don't we agree? One day, we're all gonna get calls like that. And my question for you is, when you get a call like that, when you needed to be present with your loved ones, are you ready for it? Are you ready for it? So the question is, If not now, when is it going to be? It's never going to be easier. It's never going to be more convenient. And if it's not us, who is going to be? And my goal and our team's goal is to be the doer and get rid of the excuses and really put in the action. And JR, we're going to help you accomplish your dream. Who's going to be the next one fulfilling this Coliseum as a director? Get your ticket to Miami. Let's rock this together. Thank you.